You yell Barracuda. Everybody says, huh? What? You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Shut up. I'm rich. I'm richer than all this new Hollywood trash.
A, you can never go too far. B, if I'm gonna get busted, it is not gonna be by a guy like that.
I'll be back.
Here's Johnny.
Time for Full Court Press with Connor. He has hot takes from In the Paint, tough picks from the top of the key, and the best scoops on the NBA from downtown.
It has been too long since I heard that intro. Full Court Press with Connor. Connor, how are you doing? Glad to have you back.
Al, it is like Christmas in October, and no, that does not have a good ring to it, but it is just the way I feel.
Okay, let's just as sports guys. You finally got the NFL going. Good news, bad news for your Vikings fans. You've got the World Series now. We know who those are. And tonight we start the NBA. Hockey's going on. This is the golden triangle of sporting.
Yep.
Right here today.
Every year, it's the best time of the year.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And we have so much to talk about. Let's just get into it. In my humble opinion, lots of trades were done this year. Everybody thinking they're going to get better, except your Minnesota Timberwolves. They seem to be the ones who think these guys can get together and consolidate. It'll be better.
Right.
And maybe some of these kids off the bench will pick up their game. We're kind of wishing and hoping, right?
Yeah, it seems like we locked down, some of the longer term or the stalwarts on the team, right? We did not lock down Naz Reid, which I do think was somewhat in question, whether or not that would happen. So that's great for 5 years. Julius Randle also re-signed, but didn't add a lot in terms of trades or anything like that. Not a lot of movement for the Timberwolves, really.
And give me your thoughts on that. There is something to be said. They didn't play but the last half of the year together, and that was our best half. There's something to that. These young kids show potential, which, okay, they all do, but you didn't go grab that guy that moves you to the next level. I was reading a thing today. Everybody wants Ant. Ant just needs to take the next level. Ant's already one of the top 5-10 players in the league. How much more up does he got that he can, you know what I'm saying? At some point, you put a brick on the guy.
I'm a little bit worried that the Timberwolves organization has sort of cemented themselves to, well, we're right there because they made the Western Conference Finals a couple seasons ago. That's very scary to me as a fan because I think that we way outshot our coverage. I think Dallas certainly did too to make the finals that year. But I would hope we don't rest on our laurels and think that we've got the team now. Obviously, Cat moved along, and like you said, there was definitely cohesion issues last year. Clearly, the chemistry wasn't fully there for the Timberwolves. And really any other units. I mean, their bench players played well here and there, and there were spurts of good ball. We'd win a couple games, then we'd lose a couple, and we really struggled to get back together. But I do think we're a piece away from being a truly championship contending team, and I'm hoping that the organization isn't under the delusion that that's not the case.
Well, I think Gobi and his salary pulls us back. But Oklahoma, the other one I would say, I don't think Oklahoma City Thunder did much, but hey, they won the whole thing, and they have all those young kids under contract. You don't have to change anything, right? Make the rest of them catch up to you.
Yeah, they basically signed everybody. They essentially signed all their stars. Didn't add anybody. Dylan Jones departed to the Wizards in a trade, but that team's essentially the exact same as it would be. It's a little bit of if it's not broke, don't fix it. I'll be honest, though. I think the West is actually tougher than it was, specifically the Houston Rockets. We'll talk about what they've got cooking, but I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma City is allegedly the next dynasty. To me, it's way too early for that, but certainly a good young team.
Well, let's start with what we can in the East. The trades, the teams that you think you had. Is it still watching the Bucks and the Celtics? Is that?
Yeah, no. So I think the Bucks are basically old news at this point. Giannis is still there, but he's getting questions about are you going to request a trade in the middle of the season and yada yada yada. I don't think that Giannis plays in the playoffs for the Milwaukee Bucks. There's your first early season take. I think that he probably gets traded.
Is this crazy? But I saw a thing, and it might have been one of those Facebook memes of the Timberwolves Forever or whatever groups saying that they've been chatting with Giannis about coming here with some massive trade in the Bucks.
That would certainly be the big move. You'd be losing probably Gobert, Randall, maybe Nas. Maybe that's the 5-year deal. But I mean, again, if you could put Ant and Giannis
Giannis,
Antetokounmpo together, that would be a pretty unbelievable deal. Frankly, any team that picks him up as their first and or second best player to go with whatever star they currently have is immediately a championship contender. I don't think the Bucks have it. As far as the Bucks are concerned, they more or less signed everybody back, but they didn't. They were really bad last year. I thought they underplayed big time. So I do think that he won the championship in Milwaukee, and he'll probably be looking to move along. Regarding the rest of the teams in the East, honestly, the Cleveland Cavaliers is the only team that's really interesting to me at this point. I think they got stronger. They added Lonzo Ball from the Bulls, who's been really kind of tough since he entered the league. He had a lot of hype around him. His dad hyping
the
him
ball
brothers
kids.
up.
The
ball, the big baller brand. But he did prove to be, in between injuries, a really, really good defensive player and a good passer. That team already was probably the second best team in the East, or best team in the East, arguably. And so I think that they certainly are tougher. The Celtics, which are the other big team in the East, didn't really do much. They just kind of hung out. They lost a couple players here, lost a couple players there, but they're going to be the same team they've been. Other than that, it's more or less respectfully hot garbage in the East.
See, that you've never been, as far as I can tell, a big East lover. But in reality, the big teams that we do talk about are always on the West. Let's go to break first. We'll talk about what you've seen as far as trades and who you think are going to be the players in the West. I've got him. NBA guy on the Al Travis Show.
If it's your turn to host a game, Grandpa's Barbecue suggests you try something different. Put out the perfect barbecue flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. Add it to your ribs, dip the meatballs, or drench your wings in the original flavor of Grandpa's Barbecue. It isn't too hot or spicy, fruity or smoky or whatever. Grandpa's Barbecue. Available in select stores and online at grandpasbarbecueshop.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
We've got him, Connor, in with Full Court Press. We're going to talk a little bit about the West and the Western Conference. Okay, just off the top of your head, then just throw me who you believe the big players are on the Western side.
Yeah, absolutely, Al. So definitely Houston and Oklahoma City. Houston got even better, adding Kevin Durant from Phoenix. And they were already a great defensive team, a surprise last year, one that I ate my words on. Yep. They never fell off. They played well in the playoffs, even though they got beat. But they're a better team now, having him as kind of the go-to offensive weapon, which they did not have.
How long can he still be that guy? He's not far behind LeBron, right? What is he, 52, 53, something like that? I mean,
64. He's 64 years old.
One more year and he get Social Security. Okay, so I see where he's at. All right.
Yeah, the nice thing with Kevin Durant is his play style is not overly
aggressive,
just from aggressive, or he's not necessarily underneath banging. He does have a post game, but the problem he has is some other injuries, leg injuries and things that he's had throughout his career. But I think he certainly can be a 15 plus point per game scorer for a number of years still. Okay. Is he going to end up being a 30 point per game scorer there in Houston? I don't know. Maybe though. I mean, again, they don't necessarily have a go-to guy, so it'll be interesting to see, and certainly the teams have to respect him. Like I said, Oklahoma City, we talked a little bit about before the break. They're clearly the favorites to repeat, but that's always how it starts. I don't necessarily think that's probably going to be the case. We'll see if that defense stays the way it was. That's kind of the key to their success. I think Denver got worse, and I'm actually sort of in the minority here. But another take that I've got is I think that Denver is getting ready to not be a championship contender anymore.
Okay, why? Give me your answer.
Michael Porter Jr. got traded away, who was one of their young talents, shooter and athletic guy. Dario Saric, which was a backup big man, also left, and Russell Westbrook left. Not necessarily crying over Russell Westbrook leaving, but the problem to me was Denver was not deep enough to, as they've been in the past and when they won a championship, to support Jokic, who's clearly still the best player in the world by a lot. But he hasn't had that supporting cast, and many times last year it seemed like he'd make all the plays and the shots wouldn't go in, and other players didn't show up. And some might argue, ESPN, for example, might argue that they are deeper than they've ever been. I disagree. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of those younger guys will show up. They brought in some older guys too. But right now, I think Denver took a step back.
Hard to believe you have the greatest talent we've known for years, and they have yet to pull that thing off and give them the right support. What about your Golden State Warriors? Are they better or worse? Speaking of guys hitting their mid-40s, Steph Curry, how much longer? How much more juice does the Warriors have?
So Golden State is a weird one. Obviously, when Jimmy Butler, they were having really kind of a bad season last year. Jimmy Butler came aboard, and they started killing everybody. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with the full offseason together. They didn't really make any big moves. Added Al Horford, a center who's played all over the league. Most recently, I believe, was.
But he's a big power. He's no slouch.
Good player, and he shoots the three well, and he'll stretch the floor. So certainly they needed some more big man presence. They re-signed Jonathan Kuminga, who was kind of the drama in San Francisco recently because he didn't get a lot of playing time. He had all this promise. He wanted to go sign with another team, and surprisingly, they signed him to a 2-year deal. Maybe they're going to use him as trade fodder. I do think that Giannis is a potential Golden State's a landing spot for Giannis, which would immediately make them the favorites to win everything for a while. But that they re-signed Gary Payton Jr., which is great. Good hustle guy. Other than that, not much has changed. Again, I think that Golden State has proven that they are willing to swing for the fences in trades, and I know that Steph and Giannis are good friends, so that's why that speculation's flown around before. I think that the Lakers are just as likely to throw the entire kitchen sink at him and put him.
Well, who do the Lakers have left? They just traded the kitchen sink to put Grandpa Moses, LeBron with Luka.
Something that never ceases to amaze me is the fact that LA, specifically the Lakers, not really the Clippers, sorry, Clippers Nation, seems to always have more things to sell. For whatever reason, they all have the same, salary cap, but it seems like they always have more pieces. So Luka Doncic did sign an extension. That's a huge thing for the Lakers. LeBron James pretended he was going to retire and then didn't, but he's going to be injured for a little while. They added DeAndre Ayton, who's a good youngish, now old and kind of mid-range, I would say, age center who played with Phoenix for a long time. That's huge. Marcus Smart also signed there. So They basically got rid of guys that you wouldn't really know their name anyways, and they added a couple of veteran players that are going to be good. So I would say that I will say the initial games tonight are possibly the best opening slate of the NBA opener that I think I've ever seen. And that's a statement, but we've got Golden State and LA. That's the late game, and Houston and Oklahoma City. If I'm the NBA, I literally could not put together. Now, maybe if you put Cleveland against Oklahoma, but that is a heck of an opening slate tonight.
Yeah, well, and don't tell me the NBA doesn't set. This is just some fluky computer thing.
Smart,
somebody set it all up. Just to finish off on any other team in the West you think did themselves well? Phoenix is out now. Dallas, now they got that young kid, Cooper, the big
Cup, So I think Dallas is a very much a relevant team. They signed Kyrie Irving to an extension. Anthony Davis is there now. It's hard to imagine that they are continuing to be relevant after trading away the second best player on the planet, Luka Doncic, which still I think was a complete train wreck. But they did get, a Cooper Cup out of it, which is the best player by a lot in the last draft here. D'Angelo Russell, I've been a big fan of D'Angelo Russell since he was at Ohio State. He signed with them, just going to be a good plug and play player. So I think Dallas is a relevant team, certainly in the West. The reality is, like you said, Al, and I guess maybe I have my bias against the East. When you look at the West, I can name 5 or 6 teams that I think could potentially be, top 4 or 5 in the league. And the East has 2.
One more guy I want to talk about because I just thought he was going to change the league. San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama. Do they have any chance? Whatever it is, right? I'm going to get it wrong.
Yeah. Mr. Frenchman.
Yeah, the French guy. But I mean, 8.5 foot tall. I told him they put some weight on him. It looks like they put about 20 or 30 pounds on him when I watched the pregame thing. Now, you'll lose that running around playing basketball all summer, winter long. But have they put anybody around him to make that next step? Is it just him?
So De'Aaron Fox is a good point guard. Came over from Sacramento. I really like De'Aaron Fox too. One of the fastest players in the league. Can be a 30-point per game scorer. Maybe not for a season yet, but good player. Certainly, he's the guy that I would think probably a top 4, 5, 6 guys you'd come up with that could be a good pair for Victor, assuming Victor becomes a top 3 player in the league. They added some height, re-signed some height, added a couple, Kelly Olynyk came over from the Wizards. I don't think the Spurs launch themselves into relevance unless Victor becomes a 28 per game scorer. And, he's already whatever it is, 15, 14 and 8 blocks kind of guy because he's 7'6". If he can figure out how to use his body and how to score a little more consistently, the Spurs immediately become relevant. Greg Popovich is no longer the coach, but he's still involved in operations. He's been around, so not a better situation for him. Chris Paul, interestingly, a little bit of a fun thing for him. He actually left the Spurs and is now signed with the Clippers, and I imagine he'll retire a Clipper, which is
good for him.
Thing for him. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So we talked about the matchups: Houston at Oklahoma City, Golden State at Los Angeles. Do you feel comfortable calling any of those games, or do we just wait a week or two and see who's playing well? I mean, there's nothing to look at right now.
I'll call them because what the heck, what's on the line here, Al, other than my reputation and pride. So I will say that Oklahoma City, I think, wins in a nail-biter against Houston. I think Kevin Durant certainly is going to help Houston be more dynamic, but I think that'll take a little while. So I think that Oklahoma City wins that one. And I think the Golden State-Los Angeles game's a toss-up. I'm going to be a homer, and I'm going to say I hope Golden State wins by 50.
Yes, what reputation does he have to save from that moment on?
It turns out it's the worst opening slate of all time, not competitive at all. Yeah, that's the goal.
Then the only other one I care about is our opening game, and they got to do this in Minnesota. Might as well start it at 9 o'clock so I can just watch the catch me up in the morning.
Against
9
Portland.
o'clock against Portland.
Portland of all teams, yeah. So one you're really going to be taking 5 hour energy so you don't miss it.
Yeah, so I am picking, I think Minnesota's actually a 4.5-point favorite. If we're at all looking game, say that should be a 10, 15-point win, right? I mean, that should not even be close.
Don't get trapped because Drew Holiday signed there, Damian Lillard re-signed. They've got a couple of decent players, but yeah, I would hope we beat Portland.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
And
a new season, a new day.
Now that we got you back, I generally hit you up real quick for your Minnesota Vikings. The trick question for you: Wentz came out, may not have had a great showing against the Eagles. They took yesterday off. They practiced today, and they fly out on Wednesday to play the Clippers on Thursday. 1 day of practice. Does Coach Connor put in the new guy, JJ, or do you got to ride Wentz for another week?
If
10
JJ's healthy, he plays the first half.
Okay, well that's fair enough.
Yeah,
and
I think
can
you
they
have
beat?
to.
And can they beat the Chargers in Chargers at the Chargers on a Thursday night?
If JJ plays the first half, probably not.
You're crushing me.
Yeah,
You're just crushing me, Smalls.
I got high hopes for him. He's got to develop his processing as quickly as possible, and it's tough to do that with one day of practice. But hopefully, he's been mentally repping and being involved in things. Seems like a really good kid. He's been around the league now over a year, even though he wasn't playing last year. So. We got to see something out of him. Otherwise, there's going to be a midseason trade here if we want to be relevant. We're running out of runway, and the Packers need to lose. Darn it.
Okay. Thanks, Connor, for kind of mucking up my whole day with that. Connor, Full Court Press on the Al Travis Show. We'll get him back here in a couple weeks.
Think about it. Now that school's back in session, how are